All right, some more info on the what the hell we're doing here. So it's a 2008 F350 chassis that's shortened to fit the 117-inch wheelbase of the short bed pickup. It used to be on that. That was the original frame that I jammed a Cummins in first with like stock two-wheel drive suspension. Then I was like, hey, I got this free axle, so I'm going to solid axle swap it and try to make it four-wheel drive. And where I got hung up with it is because I had a Getrag transmission and a driver's side diff, whereas the Getrag came with the passenger side diff. That's where my drive shaft was going to be, was in the way. So that's where we got stopped in our tracks, 10 years ago with that. So now that we're old and 40 years old, and we don't want to climb in a truck that's 10 feet in the air, we're putting it on this chassis, which is still up in the air, and I'm debating whether or not I lower it another 3 inches, because that's all very doable currently still. But yeah, we will have 12 valve back in it, but we'll have an NV 4500 instead of a Getrag. So in the future, if we want to go four-wheel drive conversion again, like we attempted to do here, because I got this Dodge axle for free, but the Dodge axle was from an 06, so it had coils. So I had to chop all the crap that bolts onto a coil sprung Dodge front axle, cut all that off, make it leaf springs again. I did that. That was neat, but I used F350 springs, leaf springs, and had I known at the time, I would have got the Super Duty ones instead, because that's what everybody does when they do their shackle reversal. That was popular a few years ago, because they used to be in the front. So I built mine like that, with the shackles in the back. It's okay, but the way I made my track bar mount's pretty silly. I'll show you that. I don't like drilling holes, so I'd welded the bolt there, and there it goes. In retrospect, I should have had another piece come out here and hold the other side of this, like that. But it never caused a problem, so there it is. But we're keeping the chassis, because part of me is sad. I like my truck being a monster truck, because that's how it was when I was 30. But you know what? Now that I'm 40, and I have a little more capital to dump into it, I want to paint it the original color it was, or either paint it black. It was midnight metallic blue originally, but I may go black, I don't know. And I don't like the chrome wheels. It had shiny silver wheels on it. So we're not making it originally like it was, because I don't know if I can go back to shiny wheels. I've done black wheels on everything since high school. But I mean, these wheels had, with the right, if it was black and had I don't know, a different tire, that wheel would be cool. I mean, it's very similar to the 80s style wheels, much more so than like if you were to put 2025 wheels on it, it would look silly. But these 2008 wheels, they don't look out of place on an old, whatever y'all call this, bull nose, brick nose. I call it an 88. I mean, that's what we used to call them. But yeah, and here comes a Great Pyrenees. He don't care. But right now, as with any truck that you neglect for years, found rust in there, so we get to chop that out. That's always a fun thing to do. To me, it's like a rite of passage, you haven't truly bonded with a truck until you've chopped the floor pans out and welded new ones in, And this truck, I've done every other thing with it except chop rust out of it and do that. So we'll do that next. And I'm trying to decide if I want to go back to the blue interior, or I really like the red interior. My grandpa had an 88 F-150 that was red, like carpet, dash, everything outside, all of it, They don't do that shit anymore. But you know what's cool though? I was able to take this truck completely off its frame and get this all done. And I think it was maybe 5 harnesses I had to unplug, dude. A few cables. And it was all crap that I engineered originally because none of the shit in this truck was as it was before. Like, I don't think there's a single part of it that hasn't been taken off and fucked with or changed. Except for, like, I don't think I've ever had to pull the steering wheel off. Or no. Yeah, maybe I haven't pulled the steering wheel off. That's probably the only thing that hasn't been just completely fucked with. But the old chassis, I think what I'm going to do is I always wanted to build one of those. I used to see back in years ago, people were all into building replicas of Humvees because they're basically boxes. And once you get the fiberglass hood and the, you know, the door panels and shit, you can basically make the rest of it. So I won't do like one of those like direct copy of a Humvees, but I'm going to build something that's like proportionately like that, where instead of being like tall and like top heavy, it's like wide, and your seating position is a little bit lower on the outside of the frame rails, and make it like a run around in the woods, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, didn't even plan to do this to my truck yesterday. But sometimes there's just days like that where you're like, you know what? Let's do this thing we've been planning on doing for 8 years. Boom, and you just do it. It feels good. Go take your truck all apart. Go disable your truck in your yard. Do it. Do that project you always wanted. I want to put a 6-speed in my whatever. Go fucking shred it in your driveway, dude. Just do it. Try it. Because then once you do it, you got to finish it.